Welcome to Just Never Know podcast. I'm your host, Ron Frazier, and I'm joined by two gentlemen, Ricky Peterson and David Van Williams. Beginning from the
Hey,
days of Bandstand, also to the New York City School of Performing Arts, and to the present. These two gentlemen have been on many film sets, television sets, theater, commercials, you name it, they've done it. And without further ado, welcome, gentlemen. Thanks for joining me today.
thank you for having me.
Yes, it's a pleasure
Thank you
to
for having me.
be with you.
How have you guys met? I mean, you guys have become very good friends. How did you meet?
Well, I'll start first for a moment, David.
Of course.
We've worked many shows together, but I think our initial so-called brotherhood began with this photo that you see here. We're both working two jobs at that time, I believe. Mr. Mercedes, and do you remember the other one, David? What was the other one?
I I can't remember. Gemstones. That
Gemstone.
picture's from Gemstones.
Yeah, yeah. That was the beginning of a real friendship, and what a great guy to work with. What an artist. I learned a lot from working with David. Really did. So that friendship
Oh,
remains. It always will. It's a lifetime friendship, really.
oh, yes, it is. Yes, it is. That was a great time. We kind of gravitated together, and
Yeah.
then once when you're on a set, some people are there for different reasons.
Right.
I usually gravitate to those that are there for the artistic part of it, and that I think that's how we all came together.
Yeah, and as we talked, we realized we had a lot in common in our youth as well, which you know, being artists. And that's a great shot. That was Mr. Mercedes, I think.
Season
Yeah.
three.
Wow, boy, oh boy.
That was a fun time. It was an exciting time, especially when you're you're into the art and you get to film two shows 5 days a week. That was for almost 2 months. That
Oh,
was a one time.
yeah, really, really great. And yeah, the people that you meet a lot of times on those sets, they don't realize the hours that we put in, and as well as I do, David, and Ron yourself. Uh, some of those hours are 17-hour days, but
Yes.
we love that. I mean, we just thrive on that. Can't wait till we see what the next set's going to be like, or the
Yeah.
next scene. How many people have we seen drop out? If you really don't like the arts, it's not something that we saw many of people leave. They couldn't, and kind of puts a grin on our face, I think, when we see that happen. Just no dedication, really. So
Oh yeah. You have to
yeah,
be dedicated for this. You really have there's no money in it, so you really have to want to do it, and we really want to do it.
yeah,
Right.
you got to keep the grind up. I haven't done much lately because of COVID, but I just did have a director's pick on a job that really worked out pretty nicely for me, because I've stepped aside with COVID. And I don't know about you, David, but I really haven't had the desire to get out there as much because things have changed a little bit. But I kind of pick and choose now, and if I see
That
something, yeah. So I just wound up with a great job working with a bunch of the Nickelodeon child actors.
oh,
I got
nice,
a director's.
nice.
Yeah,
Sweet.
it's in the filming's done, and it'll come out sometime in the fall. Uh, Made some new friendships with some child actors that are now adults. They made an adult film with them. It was Zoe 101 on Nickelodeon, which goes back in time. It was a 5-year series, and it was just a pleasure to get back and work one more time, because I haven't really worked much lately. So
Hey, Ricky, let's jump back a little bit.
sure. sure.
Almost like this is your life.
Oh, oh my goodness. That's probably a year or maybe two before I went on the American Bandstand as a regular dancer. Back in that probably was maybe 1961 or so. There, I wound up winding up on American Bandstand as a regular dancer, and that was me basically when I was on the show. 17 years old there, really. Uh, this is something that was I got a call. I was actually on a vacation, getting ready to go on a cruise, and I got a call that they wanted to interview and put together a bandstand diary. And I did it on the phone. They were having a book signing in Philadelphia, which I couldn't make, but it was an honor. They interviewed me on the phone and wanted to make sure that they got me in there for the period of time that I was on the show. It was an honor. I'm sorry I didn't make it. That's a classic. That's me by the car in a James Dean pose. I thought I was going to be the next James Dean. That didn't happen. We can tell that didn't happen. But it was a great time in my life. That's a classic photo that made Dick Clark's souvenir edition. That picture, I didn't see it until 2000, about 2000, really. It was a fan club photo that was sent in to be reviewed to see if they wanted to use it in the magazine. That's a fan mail that used to come into the studio. You look at the address, you can see how the old addresses were then in those days. We're going way back in time there. That was most of that mail. I got saved a few that were important. Yeah, that's Teen World magazine. That was a photo shoot in one of the hotels. This all transpired basically because I looked like the most popular guy on the show when I got on the show. I got on the show in 62, and sometime in 63, people were wondering if this main star of the show, his name was Richie Cartledge, by the way, and I looked just like Richie. So mail was coming in. He had won a dance contest the year before, and they wanted to know if he had a brother. So all this mail was coming in, and they kind of got Dick Clark to interview him and me together. And as soon as that happened, fan club people writing in, and it was quite an honor to be a part of that history, really. And I look back on it from time to time. I'm very fortunate to have been on that show in those years. I don't have much contact with many of the people anymore, although there is a site that occasionally I'll frequent and look at some of the old stuff. But most of the people that I knew are probably passed away, lost contact with them. I feel very blessed to be around still and doing what I love to do. I get all excited, and I'm looking at my friend David, and I know the conversations I've had with him. I know some of the stuff. I'd love to hear what you did, David, in the theater and some of the early stuff that you did. So please let me hear some of your great stories that I know you have.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I started acting at age 11. I was 11 years old. I was in a school play, and one of my friends, their mother, she accompanied Broadway theater, and she volunteered to play the piano for us. This was a musical called Free to Be You and Me. She heard me sing, and she brought to my parents' attention that they were looking for an understudy on the Broadway show Shenandoah. And I auditioned for it and got the part of the understudy. Then, as fate would have it, when you're a child, you grow up. So the boy ahead of me, my good friend Brent Carter, he grew up. He was getting too tall for the part. His voice was changing. So they had to move on. And I eventually took over the role. So I made my Broadway debut in 1976. Got to work with uh, John Cullum, of all people. What a great guy he is. I then after I was doing commercials and doing the kids thing and doing the Broadway thing, and my voice got tired out. I sang a lot of I sang 2 songs and they were high, so my voice got tired out. They thought my voice was changing, so they let me go. I eventually, the following year in 1977, I auditioned for Shenandoah, the road tour, and I got to perform with Howard Keel.
Oh, wow.
And I also got to perform before the newly elected then James Earl Carter. So, you know, you're a 13-year-old kid and you've been in elementary school and junior high school. All you've been taught is American history. And here you are performing for a sitting president of the United States. That was something for me.
Just incredible. Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, as you know, back then, I mean, my claim to fame was a enslaved show. So that's what it was back then. There were no parts for a person of my color. So the jobs started drying out, and I was so saddened, but I was able to go to the High School of Performing Arts in New York City, and I got my groove back. It was a great experience. It was almost like going to college. It was almost like going to college for gifted kids. And we walked around in leotards and acted all day long. And then we also had our academics. But just to be on a campus with people that want the same thing, and there were no boundaries. We all no specific part for somebody. You earn that part, so that's your part. It might not be the description you are, but you earn the part. But that was so wonderful, that experience. And my school, they got to they did a movie about my school, Fame, and most of us that went to that school were able to be in the movie, and that was great. That was a great time filming that movie, you know, and it's so exciting because it's a film about your school and how your day went, and it's there forever. As I say, Fame, I'm going to live forever. It's there forever. What a great time. And then it dried out. Then there were no roles for me or anything. So I had to change up a little bit. I had to get a career. So I became a cop, of all things. But being a cop and acting, that saved my butt many a time, because later on in my career, I was an undercover cop, and I would improvise and act in sticky situations. And if I could not act, I probably wouldn't be here.
Yeah, that was right in your wheelhouse. You know, that was right there where you needed to be at that moment. And thank goodness you never gave up the hope, and you kept with the grind, because look at where you're at now, David. And yeah, you're successful. You're a great actor. Yeah.
Well, thanks, Ricky. You know, it's just so amazing that I took the chance to start doing background work.
Oh, yeah.
And many people are saying, you know, you don't want to be a background. You don't want to be an extra. I said, no, I'm a background artist. There's a difference. You could be an extra, but there's a difference to being a background artist. And what they don't do is you're acting. It doesn't matter. We need to act. We have to act. That's why we're featured all the time in the shows that we're in. Exactly. You know, we could be background, but we're usually the featured people, because they know who can act. They do. And it's been amazing if I never do another film, the last 4 or 5 years has done my soul so much good. It
Oh,
really.
I I agree 100%. I don't want to travel too much, but I do. I used to travel up and down the coast doing it, and I still have that burning desire. But as a woman in my life has taken a different turn, and we spend a lot more time together, and I'm enjoying the beach a little bit more. But this most recent role that I took was a real blessing. Great featured recurring part in a motion picture. I can't say too much more about my role, but it's a recurring role, and if the movie, it's going to be on Paramount Plus. If it gets the same hype that it got when they were doing the series, as kids on Nickelodeon, they would bring
Right.
me back. They would bring me back in my recurring role. So, oh gosh, that's a good one there. That was a tuxedo job that I loved doing. That was a Hallmark film. I worked with Christian Chenoweth in that, and she was such a doll. Oh, she's just like you would see her from Broadway or all her resume. She was such a nice, kind person. Uh, I really enjoyed that. That was done in Charlotte. Yeah, that's when I was getting around a little bit more in the car. Uh, that was a featured role. I played, had to shave the goatee, you can see, and everything off for that one. That was a featured role as Thomas Edison on The Inspectors in CBS. Yeah, another role. David's talking about featured role. There's a featured role as Mr. Denkins on Flatch, which is a comedy on Fox. That was the first season of Fox. I actually worked 2 episodes on that. They were both specialty featured jobs. One was as Mr. Denkins in the finale, and the other one was as a dancer. And I think my American Bandstand history got me that job, even though it was nothing to do with dancing like American Bandstand. It was kind of comical, really. I don't think you had to even know how to dance, but that's probably why I got the role. It was a lot of fun. But,
Hey, David,
yeah.
before I forget, I wanted to ask you, how many years were you a state policeman?
I was a state trooper and investigator for 24 years. 24 years. And I was able to get out when I was in the young part, and I was going to retire, and then got the acting bug. Somebody challenged me, and I said, I'll take that challenge, and haven't stopped since.
Well, I think you kept on fighting crime, though.
Yeah, oh, that's great. Yeah, I love that. I love that one. Oh my goodness.
I was I was a I was a superhero, Badger Man, in the independent film called Bonnie and Freud. That was a fun time. We did some special effects that I really enjoyed getting into in that fight scene.
Oh man, I
Oh,
love that, David. That's a great. I love that the stash on that thing. Oh, what a great
yeah.
idea.
Yes, sir.
As an honor to my brother that just recently passed, but that was from that Hulu special, Reprisal.
Oh,
Remember
okay.
that one?
Yeah, I worked with Prisel, but yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that was a good one.
Oh
Yeah, that
yeah. Oh
reminds
yeah.
me of the '70s. Yeah, the '70 era, really, with that look. That was
Right.
a look.
I love the '70s, and there's the Earls, and that was on the set of the Underground Railroad. I enjoyed doing that. That was almost a month of filming. Very emotional set.
Yeah, those period pieces are so great. Oh, there's another great. What a great shot that is. Yeah.
Oh, that's one of my favorite shots. That's still the Underground Railroad, and of course, you see there's Kenny, our good
Yeah.
friend Kenny.
Kenny.
Worked with
Yeah,
Kenny. Yeah.
we were even roommates filming that movie, and I love that picture. I have that up on my wall in black and white. It's such a great picture.
Oh,
A wonderful time filming that movie. And
That one.
that's Lovecraft Country with Mr. Mateo, one of our friends.
Oh yes, yes.
That was Lovecraft Country. That was in Tulsa, Oklahoma, before the riots happened, and they were flashbacking to that.
Was that filmed in Savannah, David? That one?
That was Macon, Macon.
Macon.
And there
Okay.
I am with Mateo again. That's the 24th. That he was a soldier. I told him I had told him my method in acting is that you're my son, and he was being brought to be hung. So I told him my method in this is you're my son, and that's how I'm going to use the emotion for when I'm on the set.
Yeah. Well, we pass along things to others. Sometimes they're they're smart enough to listen. Some people think they have all the answers, but you know as well as I do, the creative arts and juices they just kind of they flow at the moment. You know, it's not always planned. It's better when it's not planned and it comes out. You know.
Yes. Oh, and there's Mr. Mercedes. And of course, you know who the man next to me is. And during that time, I found out he went to my high school.
Oh,
That was
wow.
crazy. He went to my high school. So one day, on the first day on set with him, when he was a judge and I was a juror, I said, hey, I went to the high school performing arts too. He said, oh, really? You look young. You look young. You must have went to that new school in Lincoln Center. I said, oh no, I went to the original, 120 West 46th Street. He said, oh really? Who was your teachers? I said, Madam Shine. He looked at me with this guy ain't bullshitting. and he just gave me that look, and we became friends after that moment. You know, that's amazing. You know,
Oh yeah.
meet somebody with his prestige
Oh.
that went to high school, probably had the same locker you did at one time, and sat in the same classrooms.
Yeah, how
Um,
ironic is that? You
and,
know.
and oh, there's Vivian, our good friend Vivian.
What a
That was that was from The Eyes of Tammy Faye. I got lucky on that one. All of my parts, I feel I just got lucky.
yeah.
But that's a good one. I was a featured PTL singer,
Okay.
and quite good screen time on that one. Good screen time on that one. And my singing from my younger years must have proven to give me that
Oh
part.
yeah.
So that was good.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah.
And Hollywood, if you notice the films that I'm in, they're always award winners, Academy Awards, Tony Awards, and Golden Globes, etc. So I think you need David Van Williams in a lot more than what's going on.
I think there's something to that, David, without a doubt. Yeah, and of course, Vivian is a real sweetheart. I've worked with her on many things. Worked with her on so many that I can't even remember them all. But one special one was Shots Fired that I worked with her. I had a featured part as a radical protester, and for me, it's really special because the director was Jonathan Demme, who passed away. Did Hannibal and Philadelphia Story. Uh, he directed me in a special scene as a radical protester. He died. He never even got to see it. He died the next year. So, yeah, Vivian was on that set as well. Yeah, everybody kind of teared up when they heard that happened. Yeah, that's probably the most famous director that I've ever worked with would have been him, I guess, Jonathan Demme. We just love doing what we do. I can't express the way I feel about my career. This just dropped on Netflix. This is, it's ironic because most of my time I lived in Pennsylvania, except for a short period of time in Delaware during the Bandstand years. This just dropped on Netflix. I played a Jewish mobster in Florida Man. Just dropped about a week ago, and that was a lucky shot. I loved the classic cars. I had a great time working that. Met some nice people. Worked on that in 2021. So I don't know why it took so long. You know, sometimes it takes 6 months or a year to come out, but that seemed to be a little bit longer. I really don't know what held it up, but that was the first commercial I ever did for Brighton's Bathrooms. That was done in New Bern. I was so excited to work that. It was my first commercial job, and even though New Bern's a long way from where I live, I said, I hope this old car gets me where I'm headed, because this is the beginning. And I've done a couple more since then, but that was my first commercial, actually.
I wanted to ask you, Ricky, what was the most memorable moment from the Bandstand days?
Oh, well, I'll tell you what, I've got a few. I'll tell you a couple. The best memory I have would be seeing Stevie Wonder do Fingertips Part 2. He was about 12 years old. That's probably I was there seeing that. Something, this shows you don't count on me if you're going to bet on a racehorse or if you're going to bet on anything, because you're probably going to lose. I saw Wayne Newton. Now, he sang Dunkashane on the show, and the teenager that I was in those times, I said, this kid will never make it anywhere. He's this is his one and only song this guy's ever going to make. And we know the history of Wayne Newton. He became a multimillionaire in Vegas, and I learned to respect him naturally as well. But I was so wrong on that, dead wrong. I said, this guy's not going anywhere. I hated that song. I just couldn't stand it. Yeah, that would, Stevie Wonder would be really. I saw numerous people on there. Bobby Vinton, Connie Francis, some of the older ones. But it was just a pleasure to get in. I can tell you a story that happened too that made me feel like I was important with Bandstand. I remember coming up on a Saturday when they were taping shows. And I was running late. The train ran late or whatever. So I come down on the L, and people were out there. They closed the doors. Nobody's getting in. There was a security cop named Bob, and he saw me coming towards the studio. He motioned me in. He took me in the back door of the studio, and I had to climb through electrical wires and all kinds of stuff to get down to where you would get, where you would get in. So I really felt kind of special when that happened. And I said, oh boy, gosh, these people are out here. Nobody's getting in. They're not letting people in. And this guy's slipping me in the back door. So that was a special moment for me in terms of Bandstand too. And Pop Singers was a little restaurant where everybody went and ate, during breaks between sets. And I think my initials are carved in some of the old wooden benches over at Pop Singers, because people that would come to the show that had never been there, or people from out of town, they'd want to come in and see some of the regular people that danced on the show. And I think everybody carved their initials in the old wooden seats. But if you didn't go to Pop Singers, you didn't know what was up.
Right.
46 Market.
Same question to you, Dave. Memorable actor that you may have worked with that left an impression?
Yes. When I came back into acting, the first show I did was Escape at Dannemora. Ben Stiller directed it, and everyone knows him for being comical and all of that. And to watch him direct this show, because I I was in it quite a bit. It was amazing to see him work at it. And I remember one time my mother said that his parents were at the show because she's excited because here's Stiller and Mira are on coming to see me, and that's one of her idols of that generation. So I was speaking to one of the crew members that I became friends with and told them the story how I was actually in Fame with his mother. And then I also told the story about my mom saying that his parents were there. So he came over to me one time. He set me up. They set me up. So he came over and he said, were you in Fame with my mom? His eyes lit up and I said, of yes. And I explained which scene I was in and everything. And he was so elated and so nice. And it was just amazing. And what I did, knowing that my mother knew that his parents went there, I said, you know what? My mother said that your parents came to see me in my Broadway show. And he said, oh, really? Which one? He said, I said, Shenandoah. He said, John Cullum. He said, I will tell you this. After we saw that performance, my sister and I used to sing your song Freedom in our living room and act like you and dance, try to mimic your dance. I was like, wow, here's this guy that's a big star and all of this, and he's humble enough to seek me out. And that was it. And it was a good one because after that, I got in a lot of FaceTime on that one.
What a compliment.
I have a very good one since Bernstein is coming up. I auditioned for a play, Broadway play, that Leonard Bernstein. He was the musical director and did the music for it. And he really wanted me bad, but the song that he wanted me to sing was so horrific in it was so horrible for a child to sing about being black. I was already in Shenandoah, which was tough too. So I said no. I turned him down. I turned down the great Leonard Bernstein. But it was a good thing because the show closed before previews. So it's a blessing. But it was something to, you know who Leonard Bernstein is. Here you are one-on-one with him and he's trying to get you to take the part.
Yeah.
Hey, Dave, name some of the students that came out of that school.
Oh, wow. We were very good friends back then. Vanessa L. Williams, Jennifer Aniston. There's just too many that went there. They were able to hang in there and do the grind. I wasn't able to do the grind, but they were. And it's so amazing when you see someone you went to high school with on the screen and you're like, I went to high school with Erica Gimble or Danny Burstein. These are great actors. And at one time we were on our campus acting together. That's amazing.
Yeah, well, you're a big part of that history too, David. Don't shortchange yourself on that one because it's great that you were such a part of that. I mean, I can say the same thing, about American Bandstand. There were people that really emphasized on the dancers in the late '50s when it all started, and to the beginning of the '60s, and then a lot of them weren't on the show. It's the same. They got more magazines and things than I could ever even imagine back in the late '50s and all, before, when it was really important. So for me to just luck out and get in, a small portion of time myself, it's just really like what you're saying. You're a part of it,
Lucked out. How
Yeah,
lucky were we?
yeah.
Luck.
I think we both lucked out on those.
When you say you were lucky, that's what we do is almost like a 1 in a million chance to to be there doing what we like.
Yeah, yeah. I
Hey, Ricky,
love.
what I understand is that the dancers back then were celebrities.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, like I say, in the '50s, the entertainers that were coming on the show, they weren't as popular as the dancers. Now we're going back to, I can name you a couple really famous ones way before my time. Bob Clayton and Justine Corelli were probably the most popular couple ever on there in the '50s, late '50s. But as the show moved to California, the format changed. Dick Clark, everybody was sad when the show in Philly moved out there. Matter of fact, I even contemplated maybe going to California myself, but that didn't happen. But what I was getting at with Dick Clark moving out there, now all of a sudden everything focused on the entertainers. They didn't focus on the dancers. In Philly's time, it was all about the dancers. California, it was all about the entertainers. Michael Jackson, anybody that appeared on the show, it was all about them. And Dick Clark was a genius. I mean, he went out there, made multi-million-dollar production companies, and everybody knows New York, the New York deal when the ball drops. I mean, uh, evidently he saw something that we didn't see. His whole look changed too, by the way. When I saw him, his hair was slicked back, and when he got out there, he got a more of a youthful look. I mean, he different guy. He got out in that California sun, and hey, you know, but such is life. That's really the way it goes. But we're very fortunate, David, you and I both, and I tell you, to have a friendship with you, it really means a lot to me. I'm so glad that we were able to bond and meet, on the sets, and hopefully it won't be the last time.
No,
We'll get motivated. We'll see something special that we want to get involved in.
it'll come together.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. Really,
David, elaborate on The Eyes of Tammy Faye. You had a pretty decent role in that.
Oh yeah, well, I got the role and to play BB Winans. So I studied the video of the song that we were going to sing up until even the way he clenched his fist. He clenched his fist downwards. So I studied him, and that song, I'm so sick of that song, but it was a blessing. Oh, I couldn't have, I mean, as soon as I got there and we started setting up and they told us what we were going to do and wanted to make sure that we knew the song word for word and how it was going to go. And then they put costumes on us and they put me in a red sweater. And I'm thinking, wow, this is going to be some camera time because they tell you don't wear red or certain colors. And here you are setting me up in red. And to get the camera time I did with that song was amazing. And even a highlight toward the end of that song. And the end of that scene, uh, the Jim Baker part, he nods his head, and for some reason I nodded my head at the same time. And when I saw that, I was like, "Wow, that really came out good, David. You really." I patted myself on the back on that one. But I've been so blessed. Our casting director, Tona Dalquist, she has blessed me with so many good roles. It's so amazing to have someone like that know your talent and know where to put you and know when to give you a call to say, "Hey, I got something for you." It's so amazing.
yeah,
Right.
that's a good feeling, really.
Both of you. roles, small or large, you give it your all. You go for it.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I'm getting ready to play a homeless person in an independent film, so I've been growing my beard out so that next month for 4 hours I'm gonna play a homeless person.
Very nice. Yeah, yeah. I I shave from time to time. You know, depending on the role, we just do what we got to do, and it's exciting, really. Everything from wardrobe to stunts. I mean, the whole just the industry itself, whether it be acting in a series or a movie or a commercial. I've even done a couple photo shoots for elderly communities, and they're even fun. You know, when you any aspect of it is it's just it all appeals to me. The only thing I haven't done, I haven't gotten behind the camera yet. I don't know about you, David. I haven't had the desire yet to quite get in there and direct something. How about yourself? Do you have that?
No, no, but speaking of behind the camera, when I started getting back into acting, everything was so different. When I was into acting and film, we had Panavision. You know, they all the digital thing. I if you notice when I was on set, I would stay focused and watch what everybody was doing because this was all new to me. The
Right.
then the boom person, everything has changed. So it was like going to school for me. So I enjoyed those roles so that I could see what's going on in today's making of movies versus way back when.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, a few years ago, Ricky, you had a real drastic change in your life, didn't you?
Well, I've had a few. I'm not quite sure which one you're talking about. Are we
I
talking
had a heart
about
attack.
health issues?
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, uh, it's a while back now. I'm very blessed, man, to be around talking and doing your podcast. I love both of you guys. Yeah, I was diagnosed in 2006 with prostate cancer, and I was still in Pennsylvania at the time, and hadn't my idea was to get to the beach, but I didn't even think I was going to make retirement. I was 59 years old. I'll be 77 in November, and I feel mentally, yeah, I feel great. Uh, you know, can't do anything about the white hair, but I'm going to tell you what, youthfully, I do not, I don't know, I can't equate with a number. I can't equate with 76. I just can't equate with a number. Not that you don't grow old gracefully. I'm trying to do that, but I still have a youthful mind with my music, with hitting the gym. The gym's essential for me. It keeps me in shape. And then, of course, having a good woman in your life that keeps you busy too. So, yeah, those things. But I didn't think I'd make it to get back to the chase. 42 radiation treatments, 2 years of hormonal therapy. And like I say, the Lord has blessed me. You know, we're on a podcast. I'm not going to get deep in religion, but I'm a believer. The Lord bless me, and I have to get that out there. Whoever's watching the show, that's what I'm all about. I know I wouldn't be here talking to you guys. I'm very very blessed, and especially not only that to retire and get through sickness, but then wind up getting back in what your passion was after you retire. How many people can say that? How many people can jump, even make retirement? I know people that retired and sadly a year later they passed away. You know, so I humbled myself. I take every day. I cherish every day. That's why the beach means so much to me. Looking at you're talking to a guy. Do you think seeing a flying bird would have meant anything to me? I cherish that. I listen to the birds talking to each other. That may sound crazy, but they're making love out there. The birds are talking to each other. Did I see that before? Did I? No, I had no clue. So even when COVID hit, you know, and I stopped working like most people did because of you know getting the shot, going back home, coming back up, I started walking, and I started enjoying nature. You know, I was doing walks here in my community and around the neighborhood, and I just took a different liking to what's been created. You know, and then you put it all together and realize that where you're at, what you're doing, and you know, it's priceless. It's priceless.
What a great perspective and philosophy.
Yeah, I mean, thank you. It comes from my heart, Ron. It really does. It comes from my heart.
I know you got a big heart. So, David, I want to ask you something. You got any plans for the future, near future?
I'm just waiting. You know, once COVID started easing up and stuff, I've been very choosy about what I take, and hopefully I'll have some good things down the pike. Things were looking good for me in 2019, and then when COVID hit, you know, I was on a roll there, and then it just dried up. So now we'll see what happens. Hopefully I can, you know, some land something. I like to land something that's real nice, but I feel blessed from what I've done so far. If I didn't do anything again, at least I had a few more times to do it again.
Yeah, that's a good perspective. My mind's same way, David. Yeah.
Is there anything you'd like to add, Ricky?
Well, no, I think I've pretty much elaborated on everything that's important to me. You know, how blessed I am to be working and from time to time. But I have David's opinion on all that too. I'm not worried about going out here unless something really special or really a great job. We know how important background work is, but I don't have that same desire to ride from here to Savannah or Charleston or somewhere to get a couple of days of background work. Even though I love it and I know how important it is in film, we need that. But for me now, if I'm not going to get something special, you know, a featured or a better role, I'm not going to be going out there. I have David's mindset with that. And it was just a fluke that I wound up with this one in January with a director's pick, a great job. But I mean, I didn't think I was going to get the job, to be honest with you. You know, they wanted a millionaire for this job to make it. They wanted a guy that could play a millionaire. It was a 3-day job supposedly. And the post had been on 3 days prior. And telling my woman, well, you know, I think I'm going to apply for this. They want a millionaire. I got a tuxedo. I've done it before, you know. So she said, you're going to get this job. I said, I'm not going to get this job. Well, they do call me. I do get the job. And as it turned out, it had nothing to do with a millionaire's job. It was a special secretive thing, a recurring character in a motion picture. And they kept it low profile because they didn't want anybody to know about this new character. So I was very fortunate with that. And it wound up being a 7-day job instead of a 3-day job. And I was traveling all over Wilmington and different parts to do it. But it was a fluke. So, I mean, if you don't get something like that, I think with all the work we've done, David, you know, I think we want something that's a little bit more special before we're going to take it. But again, I love everything I've done in background. I've loved every minute of it. I love the people that I've worked with, you know, and of course, special friendships like we have. But I'm not going to rush out there and do anything. That's about all I could really add for myself, Ron, really.
You got any parting words, Dave?
The only parting words I have is this. Like I said, Hollywood, Tony Awards, Academy Awards, Golden Globes, all have one factor in it. I was in it. So if you want a Academy Award winner, you better start looking into me.
Let me add to that, David. Please, when that happens, give me a call because you know I'll be ready. Just let me know, and I'll jump in the car and I'll be there with you because I
Of
think it's going to
course.
happen.
Hey, gentlemen, I want to thank you again. I really appreciate it. I love you both. And I always enjoyed our time on set. Two of my favorite fellow actors. I can't express how much I love you and appreciate you coming on and look forward to doing this again, maybe.
Yes, well, it's been too long. We need to be on set and get that set smile that we always have when we see
There
each
we go.
other. We always have that, oh, we're getting ready to act, and we have that big smile on our face. Love you, Ron.
Yeah.
Love you, Greg.
I also love you, Ron. It's a pleasure. Thank you for inviting me, and always great getting together with both of you guys, whether it be on set or this wonderful podcast. Really, I'm wishing you both good health, and hope to see you both again real soon on the set somewhere, possibly.
And you as well. And thank you for joining us. Please subscribe, like, share, comment. Let us know what you like and what you'd like to see next. And hit the notification. It helps us a lot. Thank you very much, guys. Love you. Take care.
Thank you. Take care.